The top stories tonight in Y News. The country's pandemic task force releases a new vaccine priority list, which includes persons with comorbidities. Meanwhile, the Department of Health urges local government units to prepare a substitute list.
Government officials and employees who are traveling for work are now exempted from testing and quarantine protocols.
The Department of National Defense and University of the Philippines officials have agreed to conduct more meetings on the accord termination. Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Senator Richard Gordon calls for the resignation of Land Transportation Office officials for hampering the implementation of the motorcycle law.
Missouri state lawmaker charged with selling fake stem cell treatments and claiming they have a cure for COVID-19.
And dangerous levels of toxic metals are found in many popular U.S. baby foods, including organic brands. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Friday, February 5, 2021. I am Harleen Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the country and in other parts of the world. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
First in the news. Malacanang has released the government's list of priority groups for its coronavirus disease vaccination program. Among the first to receive the vaccines are persons with comorbidities. Rosalie Cos explains why.
The Interagency Task Force Against COVID-19 adopted the resolution of the Interim National Immunization Technical Advisory Group, or INITAG. The list of priority population includes teachers, social workers, overseas Filipino workers, and others. The prioritization framework for national, local, and private distribution are listed as priority groups A, B, and C. Frontline workers in national and local health facilities, private and public sector, health professionals and non-professionals like students, nursing aides, janitors, barangay health workers, and others are under priority group A1. Senior citizens aged 60 years old and above are under A2. Persons with comorbidities are under A3. A4 includes frontline personnel in essential sectors, including uniform personnel and those in working sectors, identified by the IATF as essential during enhanced community quarantine. The indigent population is under priority group A5. Under priority group B1, the teachers and social workers are included. B2 is for other government workers and B3 includes other essential workers. Under B4, socio-demographic groups at significantly higher risk other than senior citizens and indigenous people. B5 is for overseas Filipino workers. B6 is for other remaining workforce. Meanwhile, under Category C is the rest of the Filipino adult population. The Palace reiterated INITAG will consider any specific inclusion and exclusion criteria of each vaccine based on the respective emergency use authorization of the Food and Drug Administration. On choosing areas for sub-prioritization, the COVID-19 burden of disease, vaccination sites, and readiness of local government units, supply chain capability will be considered. For the 117,000 doses of Pfizer-BioNTech vaccines expected to arrive in the country, these are intended for COVID-19 dedicated hospitals, COVID-19 referral hospitals, DOH-owned hospitals, LGU hospitals, hospitals for uniformed personnel, and private hospitals. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez has mentioned before that Pfizer vaccines will be initially distributed to personnel of 4 COVID-19 referral hospitals in Metro Manila, particularly Philippine General Hospital, Lung Center of the Philippines, East Avenue Medical Center, and Jose N. Rodriguez Memorial Hospital and Sanitarium or TALA Hospital. Rosalie Coz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the Department of Health has reported that more than 100,000 health workers are now pre-registered for the National Immunization Program against COVID-19. The department has also urged local government units to prepare a substitute list for vaccine recipients. Aiko Miguel explains why.
Healthcare workers are first to receive the arriving COVID-19 vaccines in the country. Health Department Deputy to the COVID-19 Surveillance and Quick Action Unit, Dr. Nika Howe, said that 116,000 healthcare workers in Metro Manila have been pre-registered for the inoculation program. The data came from different health facilities in Metro Manila, which is the epicenter of the pandemic in the Philippines. The master list of medical frontliners in the country eligible for COVID-19 vaccination is set to be finalized by February 15.
Within the hospitals, they are still in the process of going through each of their staff to find kung sino po yung may mga comorbidities, sino yung may mga exclusions, no? And they should be submitting, especially those who may be in the priority facilities.
Meanwhile, Manila City Vice Mayor Hani Lacuna said that more than 80,000 of their residents have already pre-registered for COVID-19 jobs. Non-Manila residents can also register if their work is located in the city.
Pagka non-Manilan po, pero dito po naka-dorm o kaya dito po yung mga frontliners po na non-Manilan, ang suggestion po namin ay gamitin po nila yung place of work nila as their residence o yun yung address po na gagamitin nila.
Meanwhile, to avoid COVID-19 vaccine wastage, the DOH has asked local government units to still prepare for an alternative list of vaccinees once eligible individuals back out on the day of the inoculation.
So alam po natin lahat that there is this vaccine hesitancy. Alam po natin yung realidad na baka sakali on the day itself, at nangyayari po ito ngayon sa iba't ibang bansa, na on the day itself hindi nag-show up for the appointments or biglang umaatras yung mga recipient.
Vice Mayor Lacuna explained vaccinees will have to wait for their turn again once they have decided to finally receive COVID-19 vaccines.
Kaya lang po nga, ang sinasabi po namin, since marami pong gusto rin pong magpabakuna, mapupunta po sila sa dulo kahit po pre-registered na po sila.
The government previously reported that by mid-February, 117,000 doses of Pfizer-BioNTech will be delivered in the country. The country, on the other hand, is awaiting for initial information on how many vaccines from AstraZeneca will be delivered by end of February or early March. Both vaccine supplies will be from the COVAX facility and are expected to be deployed in COVID-19 referral hospitals in Metro Manila. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases has allowed hotels and other accommodation establishments in Baguio City to accept leisure travelers even while the city is under the General Community Quarantine or GCQ status this month. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said this is subject to the observance of strict health protocols and contact tracing measures to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. The IATF's approval is in response to the request of the Baguio City government, he added. The latest policy is stated in IATF Resolution number 98 approved on Thursday, February 4. Baguio City was reverted to GCQ this month due to the rising number of COVID-19 cases. The government's task force on COVID-19 response has allowed the unimpeded travel of government officials and personnel on official business. Meanwhile, the list of foreigners allowed to enter the country has been expanded. Rosalie Coz will tell us why.
Government employees and officials on official business are now allowed to travel freely across the country. This is to ensure the uninterrupted delivery of service. Government personnel traveling on duty are not required to undergo mandatory testing and quarantine protocols of the local government units of their destination, but they have to present their valid IDs and certified true copy of the travel authority issued by the department secretary or designated official. They should also pass symptom screening at the port of arrival or in the case of public transport upon boarding. They must also strictly comply with the minimum public health standards. Meanwhile, effective February 16, more foreigners with valid and existing visas are allowed to enter the country through IATF Resolution Number 98. This includes foreigners with valid and existing visas as of March 20, 2020. Holders of valid and existing Special Resident Retirees Visa and Section 98 visas are also allowed entry as long as they present an entry exemption document before the Bureau of Immigration upon arrival. The palace reiterates tourists are still not allowed unless with exemption. The government will decide on exemptions.
Itong expanded list ay without prejudice sa mga umiiral na immigration laws, rules, and regulations. Ang Commissioner of Immigration ay mayroong eksklusibong prerogative na makapagdesisyon tungkol sa waiver o recall ng exclusion orders ng lahat ng mga dayuhan na pumapasok.
However, all foreigners allowed to enter the country are subject to conditions such as with pre-booked accommodation for at least 6 nights in an accredited quarantine facility, COVID-19 testing on the 6th day from date of arrival, and foreign nationals are subject to the maximum capacity of inbound passengers at the port and date of entry. The expanded list is subject to existing immigration laws, rules, and regulations. The Commissioner of Immigration has the exclusive prerogative to decide on waiver or recall of exclusion orders for all foreign nationals allowed to enter the country under relevant IATF resolutions. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippines' total number of COVID-19 cases reached more than 533,000 after the Department of Health confirmed 1,894 new infections today. The country's overall tally currently stands at 533,587, wherein 6.4% of which, or 34,255, are active cases or those who are still undergoing treatment. Of the active cases, 89% have mild symptoms, 6% are asymptomatic, 2.3% are in critical condition, 2.2% have severe symptoms, while 0.51% are in moderate condition. The recovery count jumped to 488,274 after 397 more patients were able to beat the disease. However, 61 new patients died, raising the death toll to 11,058.
Fire investigators are still finding out what caused the ammonia leak in an ice plant in Navotas City that left 2 people dead and 90 others sickened. Dante Amento reports.
The Bureau of Fire Protection assures to make those who will be found liable of negligence to face charges in connection with the ammonia leak incident in an ice plant in Navotas City. The Bureau has already started its investigation, which they say may last for a month.
Kailangan po may managot kung mayroong nagkulang. Kung mayroon pong nagpagkukulang na naging dahilan ng aksidente, yun po doon tayo magkakaroon ng consideration sa pagpapail ng kaso.
BFP and CR Director Chief Superintendent Gilbert Dolot said some of the witnesses are still recovering intoxication. The investigating team has asked technical assistance from the higher office for their investigation. The BFP's probe includes looking into the state of the establishment and if there were welding works prior to the incident.
Nag-hot works ka, nag-welding ka, nag-cutting ka, possible na magkaroon ng explosion. Pero sa atin naman, tinitingnan natin ito, possibilities lang base sa teorya. So titingnan lang natin kung ano talaga totoong nangyari.
Dolot added the cold storage facility had passed the regular fire safety inspection by the BFP and the owners are also cooperative with their investigation. Dante Amento, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
In other news, the implementation of the 60-day price ceiling on pork and chicken products in Metro Manila will start on Monday. But some stakeholders from the hog industry fear over the effects of the price cap on their livelihoods. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
Some retailers in Metro Manila would rather stop selling pork and chicken meat if they will gain nothing once the price ceiling is imposed starting on Monday. Under the executive order signed by President Duterte, prices of kasim, pigi, should be at 270 pesos per kilo, liempo at 300 pesos per kilo, and dressed chicken at 160 pesos per kilo for 60 days as prices of these commodities continue to soar.
Mahihirapan kami kasi mataas pa ho ang kuha namin paano ho namin maibababa ang benta kung mataas ang puhunan? Maaaring mabankrupt kami pagka nagkaganon. Maaaring huminto muna kami hanggat hindi naayos ang presyo.
Hindi namin kayang tuparin yung sinasabi nilang 160, napakataas ng puhunan ng manok. Malaking epekto sa amin, talagang wala talagang hindi kaya.
Meanwhile, a group of traders denied allegations that there is manipulation on the prices of pork. According to the Manila Meat Dealers Association, they base their prices from the hog raisers.
Yan pong 60 pesos na pinapatong namin, wala pa pong ASF. Ganyan na po ang formula namin. So hindi kami nagmanipulate, hindi kami nagsamantala nitong ASF na to. Ang nagsamantala, ang mga hog raiser, kung sa supply and demand.
Farm gate prices of hogs already decreased.
From 250 na farm gate nila, ngayon nasa 200 na lang. So 50 pesos na yung ibinaba nila. Although, hindi pa rin sapat yun para maibenta ng 270 per kilo ang baboy na price ceiling natin.
Hog raisers insist that the scarcity of supply and high cost of inputs are the main reason why pork prices spiked up. They noted that 40% of the 13 million hog population in the country are already gone due to the effect of the African swine fever.
Kaya ito nangyayari. May shortage. Wala po yung sinasabi ni Secretary Dar na mayroong orders, may manipulators.
They estimate that pork prices should be at 340 to 360 pesos per kilogram.
Ang inaalala namin, pagdating ng Lunes, baka matakot yung ating mga retailers, traders na magbenta kasi malulugi sila Baka hindi na sila magbenta, yan ang problema.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The long-awaited dialogue between the Department of National Defense and the University of the Philippines regarding the abrogation of the 1989 Accord finally pushed through yesterday, with both parties agreeing to continue their meeting. Lea Ilagan will tell us why.
Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana and University of the Philippines President Danilo Concepcion met yesterday to discuss the abrogation of 1989 UP DND Accord. In a statement released by DND spokesperson Director Arsenio Andolong, he said the dialogue was a positive development in seeking ways to move forward and strengthening collaboration with academic institutions in the country. Andolong said that the DND expressed its openness to listen to the UP administration. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana and UP President Danilo Concepcion both agreed to continue dialogues on cooperation in promoting academic freedom and the recent termination of the accord that prohibits police and military presence in UP campuses. The said dialogue was initiated by Commission on Higher Education Chairman Prospero de Vera III last month. Secretary Lorenzana abrogated the more than 30 years agreement with UP that requires the military to inform the UP administration of its operation inside the campus. Secretary Lorenzana said communist insurgents had taken advantage of the agreement to recruit its students. Lea Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Senator Francis Pangilinan believes AFP Southern Luzon Command Chief Lieutenant General Antonio Parlade Jr. should be relieved from his post. This comes after Parlade's remark against a Justice Beat reporter of online news, Inquirer.net. According to the senator, Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana should show General Parlade the door, just like what he did to AFP Deputy Chief of Staff for Intelligence Alex Luna over the erroneous list of alleged members of the New People's Army. For Panghilinan, Parlade's alleged unprofessionalism and lack of discipline through baseless and erroneous public statements must be stopped. Meanwhile, Senator Panfilo Lacson describes Parlade's remarks as careless and insensitive. The senator says accusing a journalist of aiding terrorists by spreading lies does not help the government to convince the justices of the Supreme Court to rule in its favor on the constitutionality of the anti-terrorism law.
Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chairperson Richard Gordon did not mince his words due to his frustration over the delayed release of new motorcycle plates. The senator has demanded the resignation of some officials of the Land Transportation Office due to the slow implementation of a law that was intended to curb riding in tandem crimes. Republic Act 11235, or the Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act, mandates the use of bigger, more readable and color-coded motorcycle plates.
Enough is enough. We can no longer tolerate a situation where nothing is happening except people are being killed without the protection of the law. And if they cannot do that, then I demand the resignation of all the people at LTO na may kinalaman dyan. Hindi biro yung ginagawa ninyo. People are dying. In other words, ang daming dugo sa kamay ng ilang mga tao sa LTO at mga dealer habang hindi nyo ginagawa yan. In the words of a famous man here in this country, nahiya naman tayo. I'm just quoting. Galit na ang tao sa inyo. Dapat ayusin yun.
Based on the data released by the Senator's office, there have been 25 victims of riding in tandem crimes in the country from January to February 4 this year. Citing the data from the Philippine National Police, more than 36,000 riding in tandem-related incidents were reported since 2010, of which over 8,000 victims have died.
Kaliwitan na naman ang pupunta sa atin, sir, talagang hindi naman nila nababasa yung mga plate numbers. And it's very difficult for our investigators even if we access available CCTV cameras dahil sa liit nga, sir, ng plate numbers na nakukuha natin doon. So talagang yun ang challenge, sir, sa ating law enforcers.
LTO Chief Assistant Secretary Edgar Galvante explains they had to stop the production of the old plates to conform with the specifications under the new law. According to Galvante, they also stopped releasing the plates when a temporary restraining order or TRO was filed in the Supreme Court. He also noted that the agency was in limited operational capacity when it started its printing of the new plates in July 2020 due to the quarantine restrictions. However, Gordon was not that convinced.
They were about to deliver 1.6 billion. Na-cut na po ito, stamp na yung numero, kaya lang po pinatigil natin dahil hindi nga po compliant sa lalabas na batas.
Ang dami yung excuses keso nagkaroon ng COVID. Kailangan umandar yan Sandali, mapuputol. Pero kahit paano, kahit may COVID, may matatapos at pwedeng i-distribute yung mga bagong plaka. At dapat tugunin nyo rin yung sagot na tinatanong sa inyo ng tao na umiiyak na yung mga mahihirap na may motorsiklo na nagbayad na anong gagawin namin, magbabayad kami ng doble.
The LTO said they have already produced 1.2 million motorcycle plates. Over 875,000 have been received by regions across the country, while almost 500,000 are in transit. According to Galvante, they are targeting to produce 18 million pieces of motorcycle plates in the coming years, which would address the said 13 million backlogs. Gordon says he will also invite 4 motorcycle dealers next hearing, which is set on February 18. In other news, the underground works for the Metro Manila subway, dubbed as the project of the century, will finally commence soon. The project is in cooperation with the Japanese International Cooperation Committee. Joanano reports.
The Department of Transportation has unveiled the gigantic tunnel boring machine that will be used for the construction of the first ever underground railway in the country, the Metro Manila Subway Project. The cutter head is the largest and heaviest part of the tunnel boring machine, weighing 74 tons or equivalent to more than 67,000 kilograms. Its main purpose is to break, cut and grind rocks and soil by rotating its 36-piece disc cutter. A total of 25 machines will be utilized for the construction of the subway, which is expected to arrive until the third quarter of this year. According to the OTR, they target to kick off the normal excavation of the project by June this year, while the excavation using the machines will happen on October 2021.
Join us in riding the tunnel boring machine and riding the first Philippine Metro Subway because ito ho ay paglakbay papunta sa kaunlaran. Marami pa hong programang ating bubuksan at partially operate at ating tatapusin itong taon na to. Nang sa ganon, mabigyang katugunan at katotohanan ang sinabi ng ating mahal na Pangulo, make the Filipino life comfortable.
Sa wakas po, magkakaroon na tayo ng subway. Now we can say we have truly modernized our transportation in this country. Let today's event be recorded in the annals of Philippine history as another first of the Duterte administration.
Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade wants to fast-track the construction and demands that partial operability of the subway to happen by December this year. This will cover the first phase of the project composed of the depot and train stations in Valenzuela, Tandangsora and North Avenue in Quezon City. The project contractor vows to work double time for them to meet the government's deadline, and for this to happen, they will be hiring around 24,000 manpower to work on the subway project.
We will try our best, and what we will do is we will hire as many people to be able to deliver the project as scheduled and as required by our customer, the DOTR, and the people of the Philippines.
Full completion of the Metro Manila subway is targeted on year 2025. The DOTR says it can serve around 1.5 million passengers daily once the project is completed. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
All individuals inside a vehicle are required to wear a face mask, regardless if they are from the same household. In a joint statement, the Transportation and Health Department said that wearing a face mask is mandatory when the driver is with passengers inside the vehicle, even if they are from the same household. The driver can only remove their face mask if traveling alone. The two agencies said this is pursuant to the decision of the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases. The Transportation Department said law enforcement agencies are yet to discuss and agree on how to implement the policy, as well as penalties to be imposed for violations.
The Department of Health, the University of the Philippines Philippine Genome Center, and the UP National Institutes of Health confirmed the detection of 8 additional COVID-19 cases positive for the B117 variant or UK variant. This brings the total UK variant cases in the country to 25. The DOH, UPPGC, and UPNIH further report that no other variant of concern has been detected. 3 of the 8 additional cases are from Bontoc Mountain Province, 2 from the La Trinidad Benguet, and 2 are returning overseas Filipinos. The 8th additional case is a 35-year-old male from Liloan, Cebu. The exposure and travel history of this case is also being verified. Health officials with the concerned local government units will conduct immediate case investigation and intensified contact tracing and back tracing to identify the sources of infection. And for the news abroad, here's Maria Latoza reporting live from Perth, Australia.
Good evening, William. A Missouri state lawyer is charged for selling fake cure for COVID-19 to her patients. Abby Valdez will tell us why.
Missouri State Representative Patricia Durgis is facing 20 federal charges for allegedly selling fake COVID-19 treatments at her 3 health clinics, according to federal prosecutors. Prosecutors say that Durgis, a 63-year-old Republican who was elected in November, sold what she falsely advertised as a stem cell treatment that can fight the virus. Authorities said that the substance she prescribed, amniotic fluid allograft, which she obtained from the University of Utah, was sold to her for $244 for 1 milliliter. She then allegedly charged her patients $950 to $1,450 per milliliter of the amniotic fluid that did not contain stem cells, according to court documents. Republican Missouri House Speaker Rob Vescovo removed Durgis from all her state committee appointments this week and has asked Durgis to resign. However, Durgis attorney Stacey Bilyeu said her client has no plans to do so. Abby Valdez, UNTV News and Rescue, USA. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, nearly 200 Catholic dioceses in the United States of America received $3 billion in government aid while sitting on over $10 billion in assets, according to a report. Marvy Delfin will tell us why. An investigation by the Associated Press, or AP, reports that the Roman Catholic Church is perhaps the biggest beneficiary from the nation's emergency relief program for small businesses slammed by the coronavirus. Taxpayer-backed aid from the Paycheck Protection Program was supposed to help recipients that lacked the kind of financial safety net that cash and short-term assets provide. According to AP's analysis, scores of Catholic dioceses across the U.S. received over $10 billion in cash, short-term investments, or other available funds. Despite the broad economic downturn, new financial statements by several dozen dioceses show that even when headquarters, churches, and schools were forced to shut their doors and give up their Sunday collections, the cash catastrophe church leaders feared did not materialize, and these assets have grown on the contrary. In Kentucky, funds available to the Archdiocese of Louisville, its parishes, and other organizations grew from at least $153 million to at least $157 million during the fiscal year that ended in June, AP found. The Archdiocese of Louisville says that its operations have not been significantly impacted by the COVID-19 outbreak. In North Carolina, the Raleigh Diocese and its churches and schools collected at least $11 million. Yet during the church's 2020 fiscal year, overall offerings were down just 5%, and assets available to the diocese, its parishes, and schools increased by about $21 million to more than $170 million, AP found. Raleigh officials did not answer direct questions. In Illinois, the Archdiocese of Chicago had more than $1 billion in cash and investments in its headquarters and cemetery division as of May, while the faithful continued to donate more than expected, according to the independent ratings agency Moody's Investor Service. Chicago's parishes, schools, and ministries accumulated at least $77 million. Archdiocesan officials said the money was needed to cover substantial expenses, while parishioner donations slumped when lockdowns forced the cancellation of masses. AP's analysis focused on available assets because federal officials tied those metrics to program eligibility. The Vatican referred questions about the Paycheck program to the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, which said it does not speak on behalf of dioceses. Presented with AP's findings, spokeswoman Chico Noguchi responded that paycheck support was designed to protect the jobs of Americans from all walks of life. Marvy Delfin, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God. A roller coaster under development in the Middle East will be the main attraction of Six Flags Qiddiya and is set to break existing records for speed, height, and track length. This report will tell us why. Six Flags Qiddiya is developing what it says will be the world's longest, fastest, and tallest roller coaster. According to the Qiddiya investment company, the new ride called FALCON'S Flight will be traveling across 4 kilometers or 2.5 miles of track, with riders diving over a vertical cliff into a 160-meter deep valley and experiencing unprecedented speeds of 250 plus kilometers per hour. The FALCON'S Flight can take up to 20 passengers on a 3-minute-long ride that offers panoramic views of Six Flags Qiddiya, featuring a parabolic airtime hill and allowing a weightlessness airtime experience. The FALCON'S Flight will be the tallest freestanding coaster structure in the world. The FALCON'S Flight will sit in the City of Thrills and will be joined by the world's tallest drop tower ride, Sirocco Tower, which is expected to top out at 475 feet or 144 meters. The theme park will be part of the huge 128-square-mile Qiddiya complex, billed as Saudi Arabia's capital of entertainment, sport, and the arts. It is also set to include a water park, sports stadium, theaters, hotels, a safari park, housing, and industrial space. The first phase of the complex will open in 2023. Maria Latoza, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God. Meanwhile, baby foods in the United States were found to have alarming levels of toxic heavy metals, which are dangerous for baby consumption. Early Briones will tell us why.
Dangerous levels of toxic heavy metals were identified in a collection of baby foods in the United States, whereby the heavy metals potentially are a deep-rooted cause to neurological brain damage, extremely dangerous to infants. On Thursday, the report revealed the list of baby food companies analyzed by the panel, which were Nurture Inc., Hain Celestial Group Inc., Beechnut Nutrition, Gerber, and Nestle. Coincidentally, the following brands, Walmart Inc., Campbell's Soup, and Sprout Organic Foods, did not cooperate with the examinations. In the investigation, Hain Celestial's Earth-Best baby food was seen to have levels of inorganic arsenic higher than what was estimated. Arsenic is very dangerous to infants, alongside with mercury, cadmium, and lead. U.S. regulators were instructed to limit a maximum amount of these toxic metals found in baby foods. As referring back to the report, it revealed that company standards allow high levels of these metals, and other times have retailed foods which surpassed high levels. After production, it is required that the products are tested not only for ingredients but for these toxic heavy metals. Raja Krishnamurthy, a representative Democrat, states that development and changes regarding the standards of selling baby food should be bettered. The Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, clarified that as the metal ends up in baby food through the environment, it cannot be fully extracted. A Gerber representative agrees with the FDA and says it will have more care in reducing the levels of toxicity. Walmart said that in February 2020, they provided information to the committee, though did not receive any information or inquiries. Campbell released a statement on their website claiming that their products are deemed safe and mentioned that the FDA standards are providing insufficient information regarding levels of heavy metals for baby consumption. The FDA admits that more work is required to enforce the safety of consumption with baby food by reducing the amount of contaminants and exposure to toxic elements. Early Briones, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And those are the reasons in other parts of the globe. For those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on the right side of your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. Back to you, William.
Thank you, Maria Latoza, live from Perth, Australia.
And those are the reasons behind the news, February 5, 2021. I am Harleen Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
nag-hot works ka, nag-welding ka, nag-cutting ka, possible na magkaroon ng explosion. Pero sa atin naman, tinitingnan natin ito, possibilities lang.
Mahihirapan kami kasi mataas pa ho ang kuha namin paano ho namin maibababa ang benta kung mataas ang puhunan?
Hindi namin kayang tuparin yung sinasabi nilang 160, napakataas ng puhunan ng manok.
Enough is enough. If they cannot do that, then I demand the resignation of all the people at LTO na may kasalanan kinalaman dyan